Please note, while this is a response video to Voice of Reason's Equestria Girls review, A Balanced Perspective, I in no way have any kind of negative feelings towards Voice of Reason or any of the fellow reviewers in this video. As such, this video should not be taken too seriously as it is mainly being done for observation and comedic purposes. Thank you. Hello everyone, I'm Keanon47, aka Wolfkeen. I think you've all begun to notice at this point, I like to show My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. And recently, well actually a while ago, I saw the movie Equestria Girls, which a lot of people consider it the worst movie of all time, and some people consider it one of the best movies of all time. Now I know a lot of people ask me, where do I stand in this demographic? I guess I could say I'm indifferent about the movie. The reason why I say that is because the movie itself, while it has some interesting things to it with the animation, the music, and some of the humor, it's heavily flawed in many areas, and that's being brutally honest. So I went looking around to see different reviews, and there was one review that caught my attention. One that was done by the Voice of Reason, and two other reviewers, Toon Critic and Past Analysis. Voice of Reason, as you may know, is my 5th favorite brony analyst. I know a lot of people are about to ask me who are the other 4, well that's another story for another time. Voice of Reason has really good opinions about each episode of the show, leading from his hatred towards Spike at Your Service to his love to Dragon Shy. And honestly, I share my opinion with him in many episodes. But then again, he's had a couple of downs on his channel too. One of the most recent was his Friendship is Witchcraft review, which, if you check the video out now, it's gotten less than stellar results. One video that I've been told that is one of his downs is his Equestria Girls A Balanced Perspective. While I don't see that, as you can see from his likes and dislikes, I think I can understand why people said this because of his very harsh opinion towards the video. But then again, I think it's warranted in many cases. Think about it, guys. It is pretty warranted to hate a movie for how heavily flawed it is. As a matter of fact, if I wanted to, I can easily make a top 10 list of problems with Equestria Girls if I wanted to. Yeah, it's that bad that it can be done like that. But I don't do it because I like some of the positives more than the negatives. Voice, on the other reason, does not in many cases. And that's understandable. So you know what? Let's go for it, guys. I have not done this before, and I'm going to try my best at doing this. This is my response to Voice of Reason's Equestria Girls A Balanced Perspective review.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to My Little Pony What Works. Once again, it's time to tackle something controversial. No, not that. Definitely not that. Hey, I said I wasn't going to talk about that series anymore.
You just love taking shots at the Friendship is Witchcraft people, don't you, Voice?
So where do I stand on the Equestria Girls good or bad movie thing? Well, if I were to put this movie on any of my lists, it would end up between Spike at Your Service and Mysterious Mare Duel.
Worse than Spike at Your Service and Mare Duel. That bad?
Anyways, what are you doing here?
Well, I thought I was going to watch this video, but the Rift had other plans.
Yeah, that Rift has been acting weirder lately.
I blame A&Y.
Yes, I'm going to use that every single time I play a video game or I lose in a video game now. Damn it all, I died! I blame A&Y.
I was continuing to say that Equestria Girls was one of the worst movies I've seen this summer, and...
Yeah, you're being overly harsh with this movie, as are a lot of other people. I, on the other hand, thought it was a solid, good one.
Yeah, right. This movie was as solid as the shield around Canterlot.
Sorry, Past Analysis, but I do have to agree with Voice on this one. The movie is good in some aspects, but it is so flawed in many cases. I mean, I thought Man of Steel had a lot of contrivances, but this one has more contrivances than I would like to believe.
Hi, kinda let myself in. I brought the pizza you guys wanted. You know, cheese with getting hyped up from mild disappointment with the side of that actually wasn't too terrible.
Hey, I want a slice of that pizza. Give me some, Toon Critic.
See, it takes a lot to make me hate a movie, and even though I agree with both sides, you learn to take train wrecks like Equestria Girls and just, I can't believe I'm saying this, love and tolerate it.
Why am I not subscribed to him? Seriously, I'm gonna go subscribe to him right now.
Okay, here's the setup for the movie. After Twilight's coronation, she and the rest of the main six arrive at the Crystal Empire, for some reason, to meet up with Wolfkeens. During the night, Celestia's former student, Sunset Shimmer, steals Twilight's crown and then sends it to an alternate dimension where everyone is human, and okay, whose fanfic is this? Come on, come forward. Who wrote this broken synopsis that only fanfic writers could come up with?
No comment.
But seriously, who wrote this?
Megan McCarthy. My favorite writer of the series wrote this mess.
Yeah, I kind of had the same reaction when I found out Megan McCarthy was writing this movie, and what transpired. Fully understandable.
Well, maybe she had good ideas for this one. I mean, I'd love to know the attempt she was going for.
What was really cool for us that Megan did was this idea of Wizard of Oz in reverse.
There is a bit of a Wizard of Oz element.
The Wizard of Oz. You're telling me that Megan McCarthy wrote this story based on the idea of the Wizard of Oz?
Okay, I could kind of see elements here and there, like going to an alternate world with your friends you recognize through their actions and not their appearance. But comparing this plot hole-filled movie to The Wizard of Oz, one of the greatest family movies of all time, is like comparing Paul Blart Mall Cop to Die Hard.
When Human Fluttershy says, here everyone just sticks to their own crowd, isn't that a perfect justification for the high school setting, as it stands against everything that Friendship is Magic supports?
Actually, it is. High school versus Friendship is Magic. Wait, friendship doesn't exist in high school. Everyone knows that.
Yep. Friendship doesn't exist in high school. Lie, deceit, and killing does. That was very dark.
A lot of the story's problems fall around the fact that the setting of the movie was in high school. Anything that would have made sense in Equestria because of a fantasy element would not work in the real world. For example, when Twilight is basically running for homecoming queen, as a non-student by the way.
Yeah, come to think of it, how did Twilight get through these 3 days, get into the school, and all of that as a non-student? In schools that I go to, the doors are locked from the outside. The only way to get in is from the staff and from the inside, and most schools have security guards on the inside. So not only would it make no sense for Twilight to get into the school because the doors would be locked or open with a security guard there would be security guards checking students to make sure that they actually belong there, and most schools actually have school IDs.
Sunset then edits the footage and puts it on the internet as a form of negative campaigning. My question is, why hasn't Celestia suspended her? The negative campaign slander is a visible form of bullying, and all campaigns in a school setting must be positive.
Again, this is another good point that Toon Critic brings up. Think about it, guys. In the world that they've showed us that they do have viable computers, they have YouTube, they have smartphones, and they have photographic editing programs. I'm sorry to say, but you would think a teacher like this or a principal like this would be on top of that, considering that every student is talking about it. Hell, why doesn't the Remain 5 bring that video to Celestia and get Sunset Shimmer freaking suspended? And I'm sorry I stuttered like that a few times, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's easy as bring the video to Princess Celestia, or Principal Celestia in this case. Suspended. Problem solved.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the show had an episode devoted to bullying and what to do if one is bullied. Oh, wait! You see what you're doing, movie? You're making me defend one bad apple!
Yeah, and when you have a movie making you defend one bad apple, you know you got a problem.
Sunset Shimmer, I can safely say, is the most underdeveloped villain of the entire series.
And when you make Sombra look better than you, you're in trouble.
According to Celestia, she was a former student of hers and chose a different path. And that's it. We don't have anything looking into her jealousy of Twilight, no regret for anything she's done in the human world, no second guessing about leaving Equestria, nothing. We got nothing regarding Sunset Shimmer's character in the movie.
But isn't that somewhat nice? Instead of having the writers take a crack at this brand new character and potentially ruin what she is, they give us, the fans, enough room to theorize about who she is and why she left. As a result, her character has hardly suffered any injuries from this movie.
Sorry, Past, but that's not an excuse to underdevelop a character. You're going to underdevelop a character just so the fans can come up with things to think about them. This works for background characters like Octavia and Vinyl Scratch, but this doesn't work for characters that are put out into the forefront. How would you like it if they did that with Twilight, who's a main character? Sunset is a main villain in this movie, so if they did that to a main character, gave them no kind of backstory whatsoever, and gave them little to no development whatsoever, they would be very boring. And I'm sorry to say, that's exactly how I feel about Sunset Shimmer. Due to the lack of development, she's boring. More boring than Sombra. Sorry to say.
I didn't have very high hopes for Sunset Shimmer, and ultimately she's my biggest gripe with this movie. Spoilers here. Her ultimate grand plan is to hypnotize human teenagers and make them into her own personal army. Right, because the last time someone had an army and tried to invade Equestria, that worked so well.
Plus, let's all remember the fact that, how much trouble did Twilight have in the human world getting used to her legs and stuff like that? How much trouble do you think these teenagers are going to have in that world? I have a very good suspicion if most of them are unicorns, they're not going to have any idea how to use magic. If some of them are Pegasi, they're not going to have any idea how to fly. And even if they're Earth ponies, they're not going to have any idea how to walk. Not to mention, as soon as they go through the portal, who's waiting for them on the other side? 3 alicorns and the remain 5. Not to mention the Crystal Empire is there, so you have the Crystal Empire Royal Guards, and you still have many other forces in the area.
Just for the record, I love the part where Twilight and Sunset Shimmer talk with each other as they actually are. It's so great because all the disguises are off, and it shows us how different this movie is from the typical high school trope. Instead of it being a new girl who wants to become homecoming queen because of an inferiority complex, it's Twilight who needs the homecoming queen to save Equestria. By doing so, it gives us some perspective. This isn't another crappy high school trope movie. It's still My Little Pony Friendship is Magic.
Admittedly, that part is, well, pretty cool.
See, now this is one point where I can actually agree with past analysis. I like this part where Sunset and Twilight were talking in the desolate part of the school. I don't know. But I did like that because most of the time when, you see a high school movie in most cases, like he said, most girls just want to become homecoming queen due to a superiority complex or something like that. Instead, Twilight and Sunset were talking on equal ground in many cases, which is actually kind of cool. A lot of fantasy stories do this, where the hero and the villain actually talk on a neutral ground. Hell, it's even done in The Walking Dead, where the governor and Rick talk to each other at one point. So honestly, yeah, this was a good choice in many cases.
Speaking of things we're probably going to forget, our Linnets for the evening has arrived.
Our what?
Linnets, it's an acronym for Love Interest Not Essential to the Story. And Flash Sentry fits the bill. As A&Y pointed out in his top 5 yay and nay for Equestria Girls, Flash is a giant romantic stew. He's perfect with no flaws whatsoever outside of bumping into Twilight every now and then. I would add that Flash does absolutely nothing in the movie outside of being a forced romantic interest because the plot says so.
Yeah, sorry to say, but Flash Sentry is a letdown in this movie. But then again, Megan McCarthy has proven that she's not very good with romance. See Hearts and Hooves Day to know what I'm talking about.
Well, Flash did prove Twilight's innocence, so you could say he served some importance, right?
Yeah, in a matter that was resolved so quickly, tension didn't even get to show up.
Yeah, sorry, Past, but that situation built up no tension. It would have been better off if the situation happened as it did and maybe like half a day passed or something like that, or a full day passed, where, Flash did prove her innocence. Like, he actually researched and stuff like that. That would have been a better choice. Like, say, like, Twilight got found out with these photos on day 2, and Flash decided to do some research throughout either half the day or the entire day, and then prove her innocence on the morning of day 3. That would have made more sense, and that would have made it out that he actually does care for her. Not that he found the freaking pictures in the garbage. And plus, why would you throw those pictures in the garbage? That was obvious proof. You should have put it in like a locker or a bag or buried them or something. I know, I'm kind of getting into it, but you get what I'm trying to say. So sorry to say, but the tension wasn't built up, and honestly, any member of the Remain 5 could have found them. Pinkie Pie, Applejack, Rainbow Dash, Rarity, any of them could have found them. Flash didn't need to.
While we're on the subject of Flash's importance, did anyone realize that the Photoshop scandal was too quickly resolved?
Yeah, I call bull on this. How are they able to make these photos? Did they just have the insane amount of luck to have good enough references to cut and literally paste photographic evidence? Yeah, that worked really well until Flash just debunked everything, making the scene entirely pointless.
Toon Critic's got a point. Unfortunately, the scene with Vice Principal Luna was completely useless. As a matter of fact, that was like, what, 10 minutes? That was 10 minutes of animation and screen time that they could have cut away and put it towards something else, like developing Flash!
Actually, now that I think about it, did the soccer game serve any purpose as well? I mean, outside of the photoshopping that went nowhere? I mean, Rainbow Dash was willing to help out Twilight regardless of the game.
True, Voice, but let me say it this way. Remember the moral of this movie. A princess doesn't, I forgot what the moral was, but you get what I mean. That, a leader doesn't force others to follow you, but inspires others to follow you. The thing is about a leader is that when you're a leader, you manage your group. And sometimes you have to lead your group into uncertainty. Sometimes you're not going to know the answer, and you're not going to know the right path. That's common as a leader. No leader has the answer to everything. But sometimes a leader has to take a chance and take their group into the uncertainty. This is one of those things where Twilight, as leader, had to go into the uncertainty and try her best. There is not a lot you can do in a situation like this. And remember, Rainbow Dash said that she wanted to see a princess who had heart. Not only that, but the thing is about a leader, you have to be able to prove you can do whatever it takes. And honestly, that did prove in many cases she could do whatever it takes. She'll do whatever it takes to do her mission. And that's true. That's what a leader needs to do. They need to do whatever it takes to complete their mission. And sometimes if it means going into uncertainty, yeah, sometimes that's gotta happen.
How is it that the main five didn't talk to one another and all of a sudden they're best friends, i.e. Rainbow Dash and Applejack? Oh, I can't stand you, let's be friends! Why would Sunset Shimmer smash the portal with a sledgehammer while the portal was still active? All it would do is go right through to the other side.
Agreed, Toon Critic. Both points are very valid. Reason? 1. How do you not talk to your best friends because of one problem? I mean, honestly, I've not gone to my friends' parties and stuff like that. I've had fights with my friends, but I've never fought to the extent where I don't talk with them for a while. Think about it. Applejack and Rainbow Dash didn't talk to each other because Applejack thought Rainbow Dash stood her up when Rainbow Dash, and Rainbow Dash thought that the bake sale was moved to a different day. So why wouldn't they talk to each other? You would think they would try to figure out what happened instead of stop talking to each other. Then you have Rarity talking about, how she wants to help Pinkie Pie, and Pinkie Pie keeps saying that she doesn't want help when in reality she isn't saying that. So why would you not talk to her? You should talk to her and figure out why she didn't want the help. Or how about Fluttershy when Pinkie Pie brought noisemakers and stuff like that to her quiet auction? Why would you not talk to her to find out why she did that? Instead, you just stop talking to her. And of course, we have Sunset, who basically tries to break the portal even though it's active, when it's been proven that anything can go through the portal. Hell, Twilight tested this when she first got there. She put her arm in there and she was basically back in the other world in most cases, because you actually saw a hoof. You know what, Toon Critic? Take it away, will you?
Commence rant. Okay, so I'm pretty sure Celestia didn't make any rules on who could go through the portal. So, how about you, Miss Fancy Pants Princess, go through yourself, go take the crown by force, leave Sun Shit simmer in a ditch, and come back all within maybe in an hour. Hell, Twilight could have done that. Rainbow Dash could have just gone and get the crown and be back in 10 seconds flat. Any pony could have walked through, taken it by force, and then locked the portal with on the other side. It isn't that hard. You don't have to go through some formal dance contest prom thing just to get it back. Oh, we're gonna play fair. We gotta teach the kids the right way to earn things back. No. If what somebody stole from you is rightfully yours, you steal it back and take it by force.
While that may be extreme what he just said, it makes sense. That item was stolen from you. You could have proved that it was yours easily. And honestly, you could have stolen it. Because think about it. Where did Sunset get the fake crown? From the school. So I'm guessing she stole this crown from the school to replace it with the element of harmony. So why doesn't Sunset or Twilight steal it? It doesn't seem like it's that hard. Honestly, it doesn't.
On to the better stuff. As an animation enthusiast, I believe humor in these types of movies is critical, mostly because your audience is looking for something to keep their attention. And with little kids, you have to be very careful with your humor. You can't just resort to fart jokes. Fortunately, there was none in this, and I'm glad to see MLP has some dignity.
Yeah, there are some really funny moments in this movie, and that's pretty much all I have to say here. I typically don't have much to say about humor, other than it made me laugh, or it didn't make me laugh.
Now, I will not deny that this movie is indeed funny. The movie does have its moments where even the most stubborn of donkeys will crack a smile. We of course have moments where Twilight is thinking about Rainbow Dash in a bikini before bed.
Really, Voice? You went there?
The movie unfortunately has a tendency to repeat jokes that were only funny once. Twilight, initially being unaccustomed to the world, is admiring. For the first 5 minutes. When she's greeting Fluttershy, it's a little bit awkward. When she's eating like a horse, it starts to get stupid. But when she hits the library, it gets irritating. Or how about when Human Pinkie Pie figures out the plot and everyone is shocked? That actually made me chuckle. But when the real Pinkie Pie figured out what happened, sorry Megan, you only really caught lightning in a bottle once with that. Some comedies can pull off repeating jokes, but this movie struggled with it.
Yeah, repeating jokes is very hard to do. Two best friends basically say this. Jokes can be used about 3 times before they stop being funny. Now, it depends on the implementation of each joke. Humor is subjective, yes, but certain jokes like this, if you're going to repeat them, they have to be used in a certain fashion.
A lot of fan pandering.
Oh, sweet Celestia, the fan pandering. There's a line you draw between fan service and fan pandering, and Equestria Girls cross that line. Fan service has small shoutouts or references to the older audience. A good example would be Hurricane Fluttershy, where Fluttershy was in a tree costume, and the more subtle nod to Twilight not being able to talk squirrel, even though her voice actor can. Fan pandering is when the writers are desperate to get a positive audience response, so they resort to pleasing the fans with too many shoutouts to the point where they're screaming through a giant megaphone.
If you think Equestria Girls went too far with the fan pandering, you should see the trailer for Equestria Girls Rainbow Rocks.
Out.
I'm just going to be an ass here and say, so what? None of these fan pandering parts actually affected the narrative in any way. So what difference do any of these panderings actually make?
But 14 times? Are you serious? I know this doesn't bother a lot of people, but when the writers resort to cheap laughs to get a positive response like it has, it's irritating to me.
You know what, Voice? Past actually has a point here. The fan pandering is only bad if you focus on it, I guess is the best word. If you focus on it, yeah, it's pretty bad. But if you let it go as it is, it's not as bad. I guess you gotta employ some suspension of disbelief. Besides, some of the fan pandering wasn't that bad, like Trixie wanting peanut butter crackers. It almost seems fitting that she wants to eat peanut butter crackers. Don't ask.
Yeah, you saw this coming. So let's start with the more obscure ones. First off, Shirley in this world apparently hates her job as a high school teacher / librarian and doesn't want to see her pupils grow.
Yeah, I agree. What the hell, Shirley? You say you want to see your pupils grow and smile, and you have, like, this continuity. What's that?
Then there's Principal Celestia and Vice Principal Luna.
You know, I think when we all heard those names, Principal Celestia and Vice Principal Luna, everyone and their mother did this.
But I will let that all slide for the biggest out-of-character moments, Snips and Snails. What the hell happened to them? How do you go from Bulk and Skull to Goldar and Rito? Granted, I never liked them from the beginning, but they were never villainous at any point in the show. And yet, I'm totally okay with this.
Wait. Put the brakes on this train wreck for a second. You're telling me, you, the guy who constantly bashes Meriwether Williams' work for out-of-character concepts, is defending this? Why?
2 words. Alternate universe.
That's not an excuse.
Let me explain. Never did they say in the movie the human world was a parallel universe. As it goes with comics that travel to alternate dimensions, there will sometimes be slight or even drastic altercations to the prime universe.
Yeah, Voice has a point. I have to give him that. They never once said that this world was parallel to the other one. It never said that everyone's personalities was the same or anything like that, for the most part. So, yeah, that's a point for Voice. I have to give him that.
What can you say about the art style that hasn't been said before? It's fluent, crisp, and appealing to look at. It's the same style we're familiar with, but this time they're experimenting with a different style. Humans. And at first I thought this wouldn't work out, but to my surprise, the designs look pretty cool. There is detail in the clothing. The colors match the main six's personality and their pony Sona's. And you can tell at some points where they reuse certain facial expressions and movements.
Agreed. The humanized main six actually look pretty good. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, the colors don't match. If you watch the show Doug as much as I have, colored humans wouldn't bother you all that much.
If I may go on a little satirical note here, to all the people that are getting their chastity belts in a bunch over how bad sexualizing Cloud and her friends are, I don't see anyone complaining about Ariel and how little she wore her clothes in Little Mermaid.
Sexualizing the main... Who the hell said that? I don't see it. So they're wearing skirts, shirts, and other stuff like that. Big freaking whoop. Honestly, the worst they could have done was shown cleavage and stuff like that. Or increase their breast size. Something like that. That's sexualizing them. Honestly, whoever said that, I don't get it.
You haven't seen what they did recently, have you?
I'm afraid to ask. Well, nope. You guys can finish this on your own. Peace, goodbye, adios, arrivederci, good night.
Yeah, I'm gonna join you, Toon Critic. I'm out of here. I'm gonna hit the road. Bye, guys. Good night. The end. I'm out of here. I can't take that.
Now, I will usually be the first to defend the show for its songs, but the songs in Equestria Girls... I'm sorry, but Daniel Ingram was not on his A game with the songs. I'd say it would be more like his C game. The songs in Equestria Girls are completely forgettable because of how same-sounding they are.
I would jump on him on this, being a music lover myself, but I'm inclined to agree. Most of the songs in this movie were very forgettable in many cases. Only 2 stood with me. Strange New World, because it sounded very esque of Disney and stuff like that, and Helping Twilight Sparkle Win the Crown was another one. Other than that, the others just didn't stick with me all that much, and that's just being honest.
Strange New World, while okay, isn't anything new. It feels like a mix of BBBFF and what my cutie mark is telling me in terms of awkwardness and pleasantness. Then we have Help Twilight Win the Crown, which is the most memorable song of the entire movie, much how like We're All in This Together was the most memorable song of High School Musical. In fact, the song was so bad it cut away early. Last time I saw that happen wasn't Rockadoodle.
You just said Daniel Ingram was on his C game, and now you said the song is so bad that it cut off early.
I'm sorry, but Daniel Ingram was not on his A game with the songs. I'd say it would be more like his C game.
How is a C game bad? Seriously, how is a C game bad? I can understand if you said he was on his D game or something like that, but you said he was on a C game, which is passable.
But after that, we have Time to Come Together, which is a montage song that feels like the previous song, but at a faster tempo. But I think this is where the moral shines through. Because she was willing to clean up the mess she didn't make, and other students saw her cleaning, they were motivated to help and come together, which started a chain reaction with all the students in the school. But then came This Is Our Big Night, which is a montage song that feels like the previous song, but at a faster tempo. You see what I'm getting at here? Regardless of how the songs affect the story, even with the awesome show Don't Tell tactic, 3 of the songs in the movie are the same song just played faster. How am I the only one that's noticing this?
You're not. I noticed this my first watch of the movie. It seemed like after the second song, Helping Twilight Sparkle Win the Crown, it just felt like each song was getting faster and faster and sounding the same in more ways than one. At least I'm not the only one who thinks this way.
Okay, guys. Can we at least agree that the last 15 minutes of this movie was heavily flawed?
More like thrown in to get up to normal movie length.
Well, yes. I mean, no. What do you mean? Expand on that.
Well, let's start off with...
Good night, everybody.
Commence rant.
What the fuck is this? You cannot be serious! We had no build-up, no foreshadowing that this is going to happen. Say what you will about the holes in a Camelot wedding, and I know Anthony C. has, but at least you could say that Queen Chrysalis was well foreshadowed. The green magic, the green eyes, the ring of fire, this day, Arya, all foreshadowed that the cadence we were seeing was not the real cadence, and there was something more to her under the false persona.
Queen Chrysalis was heavily foreshadowed in the entirety of A Canterlot Wedding. Sunset's Shimmer becoming a demon was never foreshadowed. The only throwaway line we got was, it's dangerous to bring an element of harmony into that world. So it's dangerous enough that it will turn someone who's not supposed to use it into a demon or something like that, or just turns them into whatever their heart desires? Eh?
Well, I will say from a narrative perspective, this is bad. Very bad. Although, I find the end to be pretty awesome because of the concepts they introduce. There are 3 concepts here. 1. In the human universe, the element of magic can be used as a tool by someone like Sunset Shimmer.
Okay, so Sunset Shimmer can use the element of magic in this universe. Does that mean that anybody with sufficient, can anybody use that? Or do you have to have some kind of sufficient knowledge to use that? They don't really expand on that.
2. In the human universe, the elements can be used by people who just possess the spirits of the elements of harmony.
Actually, no, that's completely false. Remember what Twilight said. The magic in her element was able to connect with the ones who originally created it. Which means that if the element of magic wasn't in there, they wouldn't be able to tap into the elements of harmony. So the idea of being able to tap into the elements of harmony, even though the elements of harmony are not there, is bullcrap because there has to be at least one element there. And I'm guessing it has to be the element of magic, because if it's another element, it'll probably just tap that element if anything. But then again, that raises the question, what would happen if another element was brought in there? What would happen then?
And 3. In the human universe, those who just possess the spirits of the elements of harmony can defeat a person who is using the element of magic.
Yeah, that's true, that they were actually able to defeat the person using the element of magic, but we also have to really think about this. The element of magic was only crafted for Twilight. So I'm guessing that the element of magic that Sunset Shimmer was using was not at its full strength. Twilight is the only one who could probably tap its full strength. Sunset probably tapped like reserves or something like that, if you ask my honest opinion. Because it's been proven in Return of Harmony that not everyone can use the elements of harmony, at least in that world. And even if you could, it would probably just be minor compared to the one who's originally destined for it. It's been proven in many shows like Dragon Ball Z and other stuff like that to be the case.
I mean, Sunset Shimmer did say, do you even know what happens when an element of harmony enters an alternate world? Potentially implying that the elements do work differently in the human world.
While that may be true that Sunset knew what would happen if you brought an element in there, it didn't really explain it very well. We just knew it was dangerous to bring an element of harmony in there. And plus, I'm pretty sure Sunset had no clue what was going to happen once she got it. I'm pretty sure Sunset thought that she would just get the element's power and unlimited of it at that, and be able to do whatever she pleases. Honestly, time for me to go into headcanon territory, guys, and a bit off on a tangent. What I'm assuming is that Sunset Shimmer was probably going to use the element of magic to obtain full power, gain control of the teenagers, and bring them to Equestria. What I am assuming is that her turning into a demon and stuff like that, maybe that's a side effect. I mean, think about it. Maybe that was a side effect or something like that. Because she's not destined to use this element of harmony, maybe it morphed her into something that's more becoming of her or something like that. I know it's way far-fetched or something like that, but it's something that I had to bring up.
Since this is a movie, you'd think they go all out with the ending, something big, something epic. but what we're left with is a reused technique, albeit a little different, to defeat the villain. It would have been fine had they only done this twice, but this is the third time they've used the taste the rainbow motherfucker technique.
Toon Critic's got a point here. I mean, many movies usually do something different within their ending and stuff like that. Good example are the Pokemon movies. The Pokemon movies always have interesting climaxes and stuff like that. I mean, you have Pokemon the first movie where Mew and Mewtwo were basically going against each other. Granted, Ash coming back from what happened is bullcrap. In Pokemon 2000, you had basically Ash trying to go to the 3 elemental islands and basically try to stop the world from destroying itself. And in Pokemon the third movie, you pretty much had Ash going up against Entei and then trying to escape, with Entei pretty much sacrificing himself for them to escape. That's what I'm trying to say, that you have to go all out in your ending in a movie like this. If you don't, it's going to look a little less than stellar. So I agree with Toon Critic on this, where using the same technique that you've had before just doesn't work. If they used something different, exclusive to the movie, it would have been interesting. But they didn't. So that's a bit of a missed opportunity.
All tension, what little of it, went down the drain with the Sailor Moon transformations, the reused finisher, and a rushed ending. And I agree with both Past and Voice's standpoints. I just think, personally, they shouldn't have crammed it all together.
Yeah, that's another point I have to give Toon Critic on that one. This movie should have been spaced out a little bit. This is a problem I have with Magical Mystery Cure, where Magical Mystery Cure tried to cram together all these subplots within a 28-minute episode, and this movie tried to cram it all together in a 90-minute long movie. Honestly, it should have been a little longer. Not that much longer, but a little longer. You get what I mean? Like, it probably should have been a little longer to try to fix these subplots. At least fix them up and improve on them. That's being honest.
So yeah, this movie was terrible. And it is glorious. The way the story tries to take itself so seriously with all the leaps in logic actually makes it very entertaining to riff on Mystery Science Theater 3000 style.
Yeah, that's pretty agreeable. I have to agree with Voice on that one. There's plenty of games, movies, books, and other stuff like that where it's so bad and it's glorious for it because you can easily poke fun at it. I mean, Joe Schumacher's Batman and Robin is so bad it's good that as many times as you watch it, you can find something new to laugh at, something to look at, and just something you'll just go like that over. And that's pretty much Voice of Reason's Equestria Girls, A Balanced Perspective review. I don't see why people are saying this is a bad review in many cases. He actually had a lot of good points to put out, and honestly, his opinion, while I don't agree with it fully, I can understand why he says this movie is terrible. It is plot holed like hell. There are so many plot holes, and it has more plot holes than Swiss cheese, like he said, and it has so many problems going for it that it's really hard to fix them all unless you extend the time of the movie. But the reason why I'm indifferent about this movie is because I agree with Toon Critic on this one. If you kind of let yourself go a little bit, like not be in the analytical mood, but just be in the enjoyment mood, you could probably enjoy yourself with this movie. It's kind of the same problem that's happened with Daring Don't, where people are analyzing it heavily and pretty much not liking it. I'll tell people this all the time. If you go into something wanting to hate it, you're going to hate it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people went into Equestria Girls, Daring Don't, and other episodes like that wanting to hate it and coming out exactly how they feel. Going in like that is never going to make you feel better. It's going to make you feel worse in many cases. But honestly, I can agree with some points with Voice, and I can agree with some points with Toon Critic. Because honestly, this movie isn't abysmal. There's actually worse movies out there if you ask my honest opinion. But then again, I'm entitled to my own opinion, and so is everybody else. Otherwise, we'd be in a pretty crappy world now, wouldn't we? Now remember guys, this video is not to be taken seriously. I'm not bashing any of the reviewers up there right now. As a matter of fact, I'm just talking from my personal point of view. All of these reviewers have their own opinion and are entitled to it. Any negative comments that I said or anything else in the like that I've said has no kind of meaning whatsoever. I have no negative feelings towards these reviewers, and I have no reason to hate these reviewers because I can honestly admit the amount of work they put into this video. I hope you enjoyed this very first response video. If you want me to do more of these, let me know in the comments below and let me know what you think about this or ways I can improve myself with these response videos. Because I'm new to this one. I'm new to doing response videos and stuff like that, and I want to know what you guys think about the video and give me some good criticism on it. So this way I can improve on my next video. So until next time, guys, I'm Keenar47, aka Wolfkeen, and I'll see you all for the next video. So until next time, take care.